Good morning, school, and welcome to today's reflection section. Now, like many of you, I enjoy a spot of running. And certainly in January, it's often a New Year's resolution that we're going to run a bit more. And maybe now we're in lockdown 3, that's also the case, given that I know many of us enjoyed a bit of running in lockdown 1 and 2. And I do hope that many of us will participate in the virtual fixture this weekend in obviously a safe manner. Now, I enjoy running and I enjoy the world of running, and I enjoy finding out about those races that take place across the world. And today I want to tell you about a particular race. It's a little bit crazy, very mysterious, fascinating, very scary, but also highly intriguing. That race is called the Barkley Marathons. And it takes place every year in late March, early April in Frozen Head State Park in Tennessee in the United States. Now, the marathon itself was started by this man, and it was started in 1986. This chap is called Gary Cantrell, but he's better known as Laz or Lazarus. Don't be fooled by his appearance. In the 1980s, he was a very good ultra runner, covering many of the big 100-mile races in the United States at that time. Now, you might be wondering why he set this race up. This chap here is James Earl Ray, and in 1968 he assassinated Martin Luther King Jr. Obviously, he was imprisoned, and to ensure he never escaped, he was imprisoned in Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary, which is in Tennessee. It was described as being inescapable. However, in 1977, James Earl Ray escaped from this prison, and he escaped for 55 hours. However, in that time, he only actually covered 8 miles. And that particular story caught Laz's imagination, and he thought to himself, well, surely in that sort of time, I could cover at least 100 miles. And that is where the idea for the race came about. The race itself is 100 miles long, roughly. It's based on 5 loops of 20 miles. The total ascent is about 16,000 meters and descent the same. That's twice up and down Everest. Now, you have to do the laps, the first 2 laps clockwise, the second 2 laps you do counterclockwise, and if you get to the 5th lap, you can choose. If you complete 3 laps, it's known as a fun run, and not many people even get that far. The route changes subtly every year. There's only a very rough map, there's no GPS, and there's no route information at all. Entry to the race is all very mysterious also. There's no opening date for entries nor any closing date. And all it says on the very brief information that exists is that you must write an essay to Laz saying why you should be allowed to enter the Barkley Marathons. The entry fee is $1.60, and if you're successful in getting in, Laz will write you a letter of condolence, as you can see on screen here. Now, if you're new and come to the race for the first time, one of the things you must bring is a number plate from the country that you are coming from. And Laz also has a very weird tradition where every year he stipulates that everybody who enters must bring him an item of clothing. And in 2019, which was the last time the race was run, he asked for a white shirt from everyone. So it kept him in clothes, white shirts for the year. Previously, he'd asked for socks, t-shirts, etc. Now the race again starts, it doesn't have an official start time. It can start anywhere between noon and midnight. And basically, Laz, when he decides, he'll come out of his tent and blow the conch. As soon as the conch goes, runners have got 1 hour to prepare for the start of that race. The race starts at the infamous yellow gate, and everybody must touch this gate every time they complete a lap. Interestingly, Laz gives number 1 in the race, or bib number 1 as he refers to it, as to the person that he thinks is least likely to complete the race. He calls it the human sacrifice. No one dies, but they're most likely to drop out first. And in typical Laz style, the race officially begins when he lights up his cigarette. Now, the terrain on the race is very rough indeed. But to make matters worse, to ensure that you've completed the course, there are books at distinct checkpoints throughout the course. And whatever your race number is, you must rip out that particular page number from the book and bring that back to Laz. So that's the key to proving that you've completed the course. Now, typically, as you're probably not surprised by now, all the books have a slightly humorous name or a humorous slant. This one on screen is described as the book "There Is Nothing Wrong With You." Clearly, that would be the case if you're wanting to do the Barkley. Now, as I say, the terrain is rough. There's all sorts of climatic conditions you can come across. Sometimes it's 30-degree heat. Sometimes it's down to 0 degrees. Wind, rain, snow, etc. Some of it's during the day. Some of it is at night. You just don't know what you're going to get in the Barkley. Everyone who fails to complete the course, and let's be honest, that is the vast majority, is then tapped out by the infamous bugle at the yellow gate. Now, on this picture, we can see Laz actually counting the pages from the book from a runner who's just completed a lap. And it just so happens that that runner is a lady called Nikki Spinks. And she's from the UK, and she is a very famous ultra hill runner in the UK who holds lots and lots of UK records for routes in the UK. Now, no Brit has ever completed the Barkley Marathon, and certainly no woman from anywhere in the world has ever completed the Barkley Marathon. Nikki went to have a go at the Barkley Marathon in 2019, and if you're interested in finding out how she got on, there's a very good little documentary on YouTube that you might be interested in watching. It'll tell you a little bit more about the race as well. I find the Barkley Marathon fascinating because I just feel it's a new level of challenge, and the chances, obviously, of failure are higher than any other race known on the planet. Now, I hope you've enjoyed watching. I'm going to finish up today just with a little 2-minute trailer of the race itself, and this is a trailer of a documentary that's also available on YouTube if you want to find out more about the race.
First rule of Barkley is don't talk about it. If you talk about it, then you're not going to be part of it. Somebody may have said something, oh, you think that's hard. You should look at this race they have down in Tennessee.
Barkley's at their own edge of possibility, impossibility.
If you're going to face a real challenge, it has to be a real challenge. You can't accomplish anything without the possibility of failure. It was big news. He was a famous bad guy. That he got out of this inescapable prison.
Most people would be better off with more pain in their lives.
The primary villain is the course.
And for some people, just to get back to camp alive is all they want in the world.